Hi there, Kim. I'm so sorry about this.
Hi, Susie. All right, so is this worth it to continue or should we just record? Because I think most people probably left.
I'm shooting an email right now.
I saw your email for the first session, so I kind of figured, something similar may have happened.
Oh, got too many windows open. Here we are. Okay, I just sent the new link. I'm so sorry about this. I do a lot of events. This has never happened to me before. I'm not certain why. Maybe Zoom changed something. But yeah, it was as if.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and I guess share my screen. So as people come in, they'll see.
There we are.
All right. Okay. Should I go ahead and get started or should I wait a little while?
Go ahead. It's recording. So go ahead and get started. Yeah, my apologies to everybody for the issues. This is Kim Ailani Nguyen, and her presentation is Tilt Outcomes Towards Success.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Hang on to your hats because I'm going to just breeze through this, trying to make up for lost time. Anyway, so as you know, we're talking about tilt and is how we can tilt outcomes towards success. A little bit about the learning outcomes. By the end, you will be able to define tilt and its benefits, know where to find tilt resources, and also how tilt has been implemented on my campus. So where is my campus? I teach at Mount San Antonio College, and that's in Los Angeles, California. We have 90-degree programs, 150 certificate programs. It is one of the largest single community college in California for sure, if not in the country. So a little bit of our demographics, we have about 50,000 students, that's both credit and non-credit. More than half are female and predominantly more than half are Latino with Asian Pacific Islanders, and then white, and then very few, a small percentage of Black. More than half are part-time students, and most of them, a third of them or so in their early 20s, about a quarter in their teens, and then the rest you can see for yourself. So in fall 2019, I became faculty outcomes coordinator, and on my campus that means 60% reassignment time. I became co-chair of the outcomes committee, but we have no budget. To be honest, I don't think anyone else want the job, so I kind of got it by default because I'm the only person who answered the ad, and I did not have any prior experience. But I want to change the current practice. So this picture of the goldfish with the shark fin, that's kind of like me. I'm the little goldfish, and they're expecting the shark to coming in to redo and revamp how we do assessment. So the first thing I did was I did a faculty attitude on assessment. I surveyed our faculty. Now remember, this is pre-COVID, and we had to come in, pick up our printing. So I figured this is a good central location on campus where most faculty will have to come in to pick up their printing. So I just wrote a quick 4-question survey, and our campus have 1,300 faculty altogether. So I figured 10% of the population is what I was shooting for. And by the time I'm done, I spent 2 days at the print shop, and I just pretty much approached everyone who came through the door and asked if they would be willing to answer 4 quick questions. I gave them a little bit of a snack as their little incentive to give me a little bit of their time. So what I ended up with 119 faculty complete the survey, and about a third were full-time and 2/3 were part-time. Interestingly, 65% of our full-time faculty were either indifferent or hated SLOs. And 40% of our part-time faculty were indifferent or hated SLO. And I am one of these full-time person who really didn't understand SLO, didn't understand the benefits of it, why we're spending our time doing it. So I can sympathize with my full-time colleagues. Then I started looking into our assessment practices on campus. We have our SLO data collected and reported every 4 years, and it's connected to our curriculum review cycle. Unfortunately, all the data that faculty report are aggregated data, and it's pretty much, well, they set the criteria for success, and then they just say, yes, we met it, or no, we didn't. There's really not a whole lot we can do with it. And the question that we ask faculty, well, how did you use this data? What does it inform? How does it change anything? And that question was often left blank. So it tells me that we're not closing the loop. There's definitely a missing link. And consequently, that's why a lot of our faculty thinks it's a waste of time. And I agree. So then something came along called the WASC Assessment Leadership Academy. You may have heard of it. I brought this to my supervisor, which at the time was the vice president of instruction, and say, I really have no training, but I think ALA would provide me great training. It's certainly hosted by WASC, so it's a very reputable organization. So they agreed. They sent me to ALA. I became part of cohort 11. It's an intense 10-month program, and I would highly recommend this to anyone and everyone who's interested in really getting a good understanding of assessment and leadership. Consequently, part of, now that I've finished cohort 11, ALA, I'm now part of the network of assessment professionals, so I can reach out to them as well. And these individuals are people from community colleges, private schools, all the way up to R1 institutions, and is nationwide. So it's a great activity, great idea. Please see me if you're interested in more about ALA. But anyway, we do a lot of readings in ALA. One of the articles that I read is this article right here, is a teaching intervention that increases underserved college student success. Of course, the topic right now is equity. So this is totally in line with what we're talking about today. So upon reading this article, it led me to this webpage right here, Tilt in Higher Ed. So if you can just hang on with me, I'm going to take us to this webpage. Okay, can you all see the webpage? Susie, can you give me feedback? Okay, I'm assuming everyone can see the webpage. All right, so anyway, here, as you can see, we have Tilt in Higher Ed. Tilt stands for transparency in learning and teaching. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. There's a lot of information. You can join Tilt by logging in, about what exactly is Tilt. And I'm going to go straight here to the Tilt examples and resources. They have a ton of resources. So for someone like me who, I don't have a whole lot of time, but I do want to make a difference, I go to this webpage. So I can get the founder of Tilt to be here with us, but I have the next best thing. We're going to listen to her virtually. So I hope you can, she's at Brandeis University now.
We lost audio, I think, Kim, from the video.
First, I'll review our research findings and offer some strategies. And I hope you'll consider some teaching practice.
Yeah, sorry, Kim, to interrupt. I think you might need to stop screen sharing for 1 second. And then when you hit screen share again, there is an option to utilize computer sound. That should hopefully improve the audio.
Okay. So stop screen share.
Yeah, stop screen share. And then when you hit the screen share button again, hopefully you will see an option to say use computer sound.
Okay. I don't, on the bottom, share computer sound. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, let me just kind of backtrack here. Well, let me.
Students. And third, this is something faculty can do right now, starting tomorrow, to complement larger institutionally organized student success efforts. We began this work with an equity crisis in mind. We know that more students than ever before are making it to college in this country, but once they get there, they experience nothing like an equitable educational opportunity. Ethnically underrepresented students, first generation in their family to attend college students, and low-income students, together, we call this group underserved students, they are half as likely to graduate college in 4 years as their white and Asian peers. This is according to US Department of Education statistics. And these underserved students comprise the new incoming majority population of college students in this country. We know a gatekeeper approach designed to weed out differently prepared students is unsustainable and unjust and not possible for the new incoming majority of college students in this country. It's also a terrible approach for research productivity. We know from researchers like Malcolm Gladwell that it's the outlier thinkers, the differently prepared thinkers, or scholars coming to a research problem from across disciplines. These are the ones who often catalyze research breakthroughs. If we weed out that vast diversity of outlier thinkers at the entry level of college, then we are producing thinkers who think like the researchers who are stuck with the research problems at the top of the pyramid. We also know high achievement in high school can frustrate college student success because the strategies students learn to succeed in high school work at an introductory level across many disciplines. But in college, students are challenged to think more like experts in disciplines, where there are specific methodological approaches, techniques, and tools that are particular to each discipline. These are some of the reasons why we have an equity crisis in higher education. And here's how it often appears to teachers in the classroom or in their online classrooms. I asked faculty across the country to identify the barriers to their own students' successful completion of academic work in their courses. They identified 4 main types of barriers: barriers around students' preparation, around their time management, around students' motivation, and around students' access to resources. I'm going to look at 2 research studies, the first from a project done with the Association of American Colleges and Universities, and the second, a retention study done at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. The first study with the Association of American Colleges and Universities was funded by TG Philanthropy. My co-investigators were Tia Brown McNair and Ashley Finley. We worked with a group of 7 minority-serving institutions that are broadly representative of different types of minority-serving institutions around the country. We have very small, medium, and large institutions, primarily non-residential and primarily residential institutions. Some are urban, some are rural. They're geographically very dispersed, and they're different types of minority-serving institutions. Historically Black college and university, Hispanic serving, Native American, an institution that's on Native American land, and Asian and Pacific Islander serving institutions as well. The findings from this project, along with reflections by all of the faculty at these schools who participated, are published in the spring 2016 issue of one of the AAC&U's journals, Peer Review. In this first study funded by TG Philanthropy, we worked with about 35 faculty members from these 7 schools, and a group of about 1,800 students. Each faculty member was teaching 2 sections of the same course. In one section, we said, please teach all the same assignments the same way you ever have. In the second section, please pull out 2 assignments, just 2, and tilt them, adjust them to make them more relevant, more accessible, more problem-centered, more transparent for students. The reason we asked for just 2 assignments is that we wanted, honestly, to see how little could you change and still have a significant impact on student success. Here was what we asked the teachers to do. In your own way, at your own discretion, please communicate about 3 aspects of the work before students begin working on the assignments. First, the purpose. What skills would the student practice and what knowledge would they gain? And how are these useful for students after college? Next, the task. What should students do and how should they do it? What steps to follow and what steps to avoid? For some teachers, this presented a problem. Some of our faculty, especially in fine and performing arts and engineering courses, really wanted for students to spend the bulk of their work time figuring out a way to address the question. Some of our teachers were also worried that providing all the steps would make the work too easy for students. So for those faculty who wanted students to spend the bulk of their time struggling to figure out an approach to the problem or question, we recommended a purpose statement, something like this. The purpose of this assignment is for you to struggle and feel confused while you invent your own approach to addressing the problem or question. That might sound a little funny at first, but we think that is what helps to preserve the students' sense of confidence and their sense of belonging in college. It's powerful for students to know at the moment they feel most lost that that's exactly how they should be feeling. They are right on track and clarity comes later. The final thing we asked for that for teachers and students to communicate about together before students started doing the work was the criteria for success. This meant far more than just a checklist or a rubric, which students might perceive as just an overload of information or words that might mean something different to the students than they do to the teacher. So in addition to the checklist or rubric, we asked the teachers to bring in several examples of real-world work in the discipline. We feared that if students had just one example, they might cling too closely to it, whereas several examples could be brought in by the teacher, who would then ask students to use the criteria for their own upcoming work to evaluate the success of these real-world work examples in the discipline. In this way, students and teachers could talk together about these examples, and students could see that there are various ways to achieve success, and that success can be achieved with different levels of effectiveness. This was a way for teachers to absolutely be certain before students started the work that all students had reached the same starting line of understanding about the assignments before they began working on them. Here's what happened. Students who reported receiving more transparent instruction had a higher academic confidence, a higher sense of belonging in college, and a greater metacognitive awareness of their own skill development. According to other researchers like Hausman and Ye or Walton and Cohn's 2011 Science Magazine article, these are success predictors. When confidence, belonging, and metacognitive awareness increase, so do grades and students' persistence. Here's what our results looked like in a chart form, and I point this one out to you to show that across all disciplines, for all students in our study, the size of the difference, or the magnitude of effect, the ES values in the middle of the chart, these were statistically significant and between small and medium in size. We did a baseline equivalence test at the beginning of term to be sure that no students were any more or less confident in their ability to succeed in the field or in school, and no students were more metacognitively aware of the set of skills that we asked them about, skills that employers value and that many institutions have on their list of learning outcomes. Then at the end of the term, we saw even greater benefits for the underserved students. Here you'll see that for first-generation college students, these differences, or the magnitude of effect, was, of course, statistically significant and between medium and large in size. So the intervention was statistically significantly helpful for all students, with even greater benefits for underserved students. This leveled the playing field of opportunity for all students to succeed. We wanted to see how long would this benefit last. Other researchers had indicated that this could last for a term or even as long as a year. So we looked at a population of University of Nevada in Las Vegas undergraduate students. US News and World Report determined that this is the most diverse student population in the nation. For those students who reported receiving transparent instruction in one course in their first year, those students were registered again as college students in the fall of their second year at an 85.5% rate of return. Those students who did not report receiving transparent instruction in their first year came back at a 69.98% rate of return as registered students in the fall of their second year. And the average rate of return for the whole class that year was 77.1%. 2 years later, so in the fall of the student's third year, those students who reported receiving transparent instruction in one course in their first year were registered students in their third year in the fall at a 77.8% rate of return. That's compared to a 63.88% rate of return for those students who did not report receiving transparent instruction in their first year. We also noted a large magnitude of effect, very large differences for all demographic groups of students that we asked about particular skill sets. So when we asked students in science courses here how much the course helped them develop the skill of, in this case, collaborating effectively with others, we see large differences, large magnitudes of effect across all the groups that we looked at: first-generation students, African-American students, low-income students, Hispanic students, and other non-Caucasian students. The effects were similarly large in humanities and social science courses, where we asked students about the skill of collaborating effectively with others. And even when we asked about writing skills in science courses, we saw big differences, very large magnitudes of effect between those students who reported receiving transparent instruction on the left-hand blue bars and those who did not in the right-hand red bars. Again, this was the intervention. We asked for teachers and students to communicate together about the purposes, tasks, and criteria for the students before the students began doing the work. More details about this project and about several contexts where the TILT framework is being used now in higher education are available in our new book, Transparent Design in Higher Education Teaching and Leadership, published by Stylus in 2019. We set out with the goal of understanding how transparently designed assignments can offer equitable opportunities for college students to succeed. We've reviewed some of the research findings and offered some strategies for you to apply the transparent framework to your own teaching materials. I hope you'll use our tilthighered.com website to look at more examples of assignments, research publications, templates, slides, and videos that will help you to join us in combating the equity crisis in higher education. Thank you.
Okay, so going back to the webpage, as I mentioned, the Tilt Higher Ed have a lot of resources, and that was just one of the videos that we watched right here. That's the very 15-minute video there, but she has other stuff. And so to me is very easy, very simple to get started with, lots of references here. And if you scroll down, there are even examples. Faculty of various disciplines have offered how they have tilted their assignments. So this is, to me, it's a one-stop shop. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort, and that's why I want to share it with you, because I think this is phenomenal. All right, so now let's go back here to my slide. So we just visited the webpage. So I came back to my campus and say, hey, outcomes committee, let's get this going. So we pitched it to our faculty saying that, we're looking at improving student success. And just to make it a little bit more attractive, we asked for Guided Pathway for a mini grant to provide funding as a stipend for our faculty to participate. Okay, now how come it just stuck? Okay, all right, so advertisement, email, division meetings with department chairs, department meetings, we just kind of went out and got the word out. Then they email me and I send them a welcome letter with a brief overview of what it entails. We set up a Canvas course, Shell, to host all the information, the training. So I have 6 modules. Each module have short 5-minute training videos for them to watch. And then I emphasize how SLOs are connected to their assignments. And that will ensure student success if we follow this template, hopefully, as it was shown in the research. And of course, I gave them referrals to the resources through the TILT webpage. And also we provided popular, common Q&A that our faculty asked so that people can read should they have questions. If not, they can always ask me through my email. Okay, so for the faculty side, we require them to do both pre and post surveys. We ask them to submit their pre and post TILT assignments so we can see what has changed. We ask them to look at the student performance data in fall 2020, which would be the pre-TILT, and then spring 2021, which would be the post-TILT. It's too hard to ask for faculty to teach 2 identical sections in one semester, so I decided to break it up with fall and spring to do pre and post comparison. And then of course, at the end of spring, we're gonna ask for sharing out of their findings. So the stipend that we're offering our faculty is 3 hours of non-instructional rate pay. Now I asked for 3 hours because technically, creating assignments and grading assignments, that's part of our teaching load. So I cannot pay them for creating the assignments and and grading. However, I could give them compensation for their training time that they're watching these videos and also to share out their findings and to do the comparison. So I figured 3 hours is not great, but it's better than nothing. Also for the students, we are also surveying our students in terms of pre and post TILT surveys to see if there's any difference in their answers. We are also going to be asking students to participate in focus group. And for those who are interested, they can also review assignments prompts and give us their feedback as to, is it clear? What do they think it means, etc. And then if students want, they can help us advertise TILT in future semester. So with all that, each student can earn up to 3 hours at $14 an hour, basically minimum wage. And that's also part of the funding that we asked for in the GPS mini grant. So now I'm really looking forward to June because that's when we're going to have faculty get together and share out what they know. Right now, we have 85 faculties on our campus, both full-time, part-time, non-credit as well as credit, who have signed up to participate. They're now enrolled in the Canvas course. They are tilting their assignments right now over the winter intersession, so that'll be ready to roll out in the spring. And then, like I said, end of spring, we will have our sharing out. So the future, hopefully, TILT will gain popularity on our campus over time. I'm anticipating that we will get good results. I hope faculty will appreciate how SLOs are linked to assessment and how it should be aligned with their assignments in the class. And also using this information to close the loop in assignment. I know I'm optimistic here, but perhaps we will get a group of faculty who are excited about TILT and they can form a faculty learning community as well. So with that said, that's about it. Are there any questions? And this is my email, by the way. Feel free to reach out. I know I'm rushing it because I want to save time for questions. All right. Stop sharing.
These are very, very, again, what comes to mind is our keynote and things that I hear in all those sessions, that it's really, it's not the faculty load that's the problem. It's really alignment of our efforts. So I'm glad you're pointing this out, that again, we are not trying to twist anybody's arm. You got to do SLOs, or you got to focus on this despite everything else that you're doing. It's the other way around. You look at what it is that you're doing and you rethink the practice. So again, I think you made it clear when it came with those the comments you made about the stipends, right? That you can't really pay people for this, because that's what we do. But I certainly appreciate the fact that you recognize the importance of training. I think that's professional development is something that's just of paramount importance here. That's just, we can't do it without this. So I guess the question that I may have for you is how has it been playing out with the outcomes committee? Do you think that you've laid enough groundwork, so to speak, to move forward? Maybe this way, how do you see yourself, with this a year, 2, 3 from now? What do you think your goals are for the future? Because this is all fantastic. I think we can just learn from you.
Yes, so I brought this to the outcomes committee, pretty much share what I learned from the TILT webpage. And the outcomes committee, made mostly of faculty of various disciplines, really embraced it. They fully support this. So I asked them to join us, go through it as the first wave. And then when we were able to get funding from GPS, that was like icing on the cake. So I think, instead of just going directly to faculty and say, hey, let's talk about SLOs, which we know they're tired and they don't want to hear it. And I know they would shut me down. We're approaching it sort of like from the back door, saying, hey, how is your student succeeding, especially your students of color, for example. And faculty are very motivated to learn about, hey, a new technique that has data to show that it has worked at other institutions. So that's what TILT is all about. They have about 10 years worth of data, of information. It's very well laid out on their webpage. They have a lot of resources, and it's a simple intervention. It doesn't take a whole lot on the faculty side if they want to take this on. You're talking about defining the purpose of your assignment, looking at what the task is, what students have to do, being very explicit, and then what does a good assignment look like? That's something that most students don't understand, whereas we think is, oh, that's common sense, right? But that transparency is something that many of us have never really looked at until TILT brought it up. And so now with that lens going forward, I think, I think more and more faculty will embrace it if they know about it. So right now we're on the infancy stage. The outcome committee are fully supportive. Guided pathway committee is fully supportive. And it's just a matter of getting our faculty one at a time to try it, and then share out what they've learned. So hopefully it will gain momentum on our campus.
On all our campuses.
Yes, and that's why I'm here. I'm trying to share it with you, because I hope that other people will take a look at this and see how they can implement it on their campus.
Right. So again, I'm certainly happy to see that this is sort of like this reoccurring theme, that we started talking about the importance of assignment, of really making sure that students learn that there's competencies, that there's certain skills that they have to earn as a result of interaction with us, as a result of instructional process. So that's really fantastic. Do you know anything about the website that you presented? Are they expanding that library, or I just wonder how we could manage this, because it seems like there are certain areas that are well articulated on the website, but obviously this is not necessarily community college property, so to speak, right? So we can certainly share this as a resource. The question that I have is, how could we contribute to it? If you have any thoughts on that.
You can register the enroll process, because there are many faculty throughout the country that are already part of TILT. So by logging in and registering, your campus can be part of this movement. In terms of all the resources that I see, Marianne Winklemess has adopted the Creative Commons 4.0 licensing. So feel free to share. She's happy to share. I asked her about the surveys that they have used, the exact questions, so we can use that. I don't believe in trying to reinvent the wheels, so she is more than happy to share everything. Just very easy to talk to. I emailed her a couple of times, and her response has been prompt. So yeah, I can't say enough about Tilt and Marianne Winklemess. I mean, she's great.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is very inspirational again. So thanks.
Okay, I guess I was moving way too fast or something. People are just kind of speechless at this point.
Yeah, I have a question. My name is Eileen Gonzalez, and I'm from Fresno City College, the nursing department. My question relates to, I've been around a long time with this Fresno City College, basic skills. So you got people who have issues with basic skills, and we've done a lot to build them up. Now we're tilting. Now you're asking professors to tilt because the students made it through those beginning classes. Now they're trying to enter the harder classes, Chem 1A, Chem 1B, whatever the class is, English, the highest level English. It's kind of hard for some faculty to say, we want to make it, I like having a higher thinking of my class. But now we're being asked, I'm just going from a feeling, okay? I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just trying to say that when we're asked to make it transparent, or sometimes it's hard for faculty to say, now I got to make it easier for the student to get through. Because you're saying, make it a little transparent, and the equity word is there. I get it. I totally understand because I'm Hispanic. But the issue still, I'm just saying, it's hard for some faculty, I believe, to go from simple to complex. When do we say we're simple and at the basic skills level? And when do we say we're at the higher level without making it transparent? I'm not even sure if I even know what I'm really asking.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing that when I went to college, it was hard. That was 100 million years ago with the dinosaurs. But now students are getting through, seems a lot faster than I ever got through. I don't understand how they're doing that. And it's not as hard, doesn't seem, to get through. It's the acceptance into these major colleges and programs are the hard part. Getting through the classes seemed to be, God, a lot easier. And it was hard 100 years ago.
Yeah, I think there may have been a miscommunication. For me, Tilt is simple to implement. I'm not saying that the assignment is simple, but the template of define the purpose, define the task, and then showing the students what is a good assignment, the criteria for a good assignment. I know some of us have been working on rubrics to help our students understand what's the difference between an A paper or a B paper or C paper. But honestly, those are just words that we understand what we're saying. But you have to remember, for our students who may never taken your class before, they have no idea what's relative to what. So by giving our examples of what we see as, oh, this is a great A quality assignment. This is what I'm looking for. Here's the checklist. This is the rubric. It meets all of these criteria. This is what it looks for. That's transparency. And that's something that students do not understand until they have, really gone through it. But sadly, if they gone through it and they don't do well, then they get penalized because they didn't understand what we mean when we say be clear, right? What we mean when we say use supportive evidence. Stuff like that are very basic skills. But for that faculty member to define what exactly is that they are looking for in their assignment, I think that would help our students understand better. So you can have higher orders, you can have critical thinking. You just have to explain to the students, what does higher order looks like? What does critical thinking looks like? And then hopefully the students will understand how to do better. And that's evening the playing field, right?
Thank
That's
you.
I
It's
see.
very clear. Exactly.
Yeah, the other thing is I refer you to those sample assignments on the Tilt webpage. You can see the pre and post, so then you can understand what happens when they tilt the assignment as well. Thank you, Eileen. Okay, I see it's 12:30, so I guess it's time to
Yeah,
on.
we have the next event starting in 15 minutes. So yeah, it's kind of grab something to eat, sit down and listen again, I think.
Okay.
But
All
it's
right.
great. And again, I apologize for the tech issues. You know, that's again, it's a huge event that we are running. So I'm just happy that it worked out finally, and we got to listen to this. This was just really very informative. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Yarek and Susie. And I totally understand technology happens. I was worried that I would have not, I would have poor internet connection today. So thank you so much for trying to pull
You
this.
did an excellent job. That was so good.
Excellent.
All right. Okay.
Thank
have
you
a
so
good
much.
lunch,
Take care, guys.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll see you at lunch.
Okay.